Hello guys, Fuzz here, and welcome back to another episode of Final Fantasy VIII. And from my perspective, it's actually been about 2.5 weeks since I previously recorded an episode of this playthrough. But hopefully, because of the way I've got the scheduling going on YouTube with uploads, that shouldn't have been noticeable to you, and things should just be continuing on as normal without any long gap or anything. So it's one of the upsides to a little program or piece of software I'm using known as TubeBuddy, which enables me to schedule my uploads rather than have to manually do them by hand. But anyway, getting back into the episode, as usual, if you do enjoy this, please don't forget to just smack that like button and post a comment as well, letting me know what you guys think. And are you playing along as we go through this playthrough of Final Fantasy VIII? If so, I hope this walkthrough is helpful to you. And starting today, I would recommend that after the last episode, you first of all, before doing anything else, head back up here to Shumi Village to grab that Ultima draw point. If you've been following my walkthrough, then you should have a nice amount of Ultima magics now to hand. It's the best magic in the game, especially for drawing. I don't recommend you cast it at this stage because it's such a strong skill, strong magic to junction. But I've got 93 Ultimas now, here on disc 3. So it's definitely a good means of collecting them. Because I've got over 85, I will have to send these over to another character now so that we don't overdraw on the next attempt. Once you've sorted out your Ultima draws, we're going to be continuing on with the story. And the next stage of the story is to head to the White Seed ship. If you remember, we are trying to trace a load. So make sure you just head to where I am here at the bottom continent. I best bring the map up to show you where that is. Just bring the garden to this location and you'll find the seed ship just kind of chilling here in this alcove area. And when you're ready, literally just ram the thing. Well, we're not actually ramming it, we're just driving ever so nicely to it, of course. And we will automatically switch over to the ship here where we will have a bit of an interaction with the White Seed. So hopefully you guys remember that Alone was on Balam Garden, and we handed her over to these guys earlier on. So not the friendliest welcome in the world, but we can basically just speak to people now if we want to, although it's not required. Ultimately, we're just going to want to head over into this next section. And here we will find Watts and Zone. Okay, so Zone has run off upstairs. We're actually going to follow him at this point. And we can see there's a Timber Maniacs issue lying on the floor. So first things first, we're going to pick that up. And now we can speak to Zone and actually get a choice of something to do here once we get through the dialogue. You should have the girl next door in your inventory if you've been following through with the walkthrough. If you don't have it, then you won't get this bit of dialogue. And now he wants to take it off us. I'm not sure why he'd want such a magazine, but apparently we can give it to him for free. Give it to him for 25,500 gil, so we'd be selling it for a nice sum. Or not give it to him. So this is what happens if you choose to give it to him for free. You will get the Shiva card and a rename card. I don't recommend doing that. Neither of those are unique items. You'll get the Shiva card from the CC group quest later on. It is a rare card that can turn into Blizzagars, which is a good magic, but it can be collected by other means, and it's not a great playing card. So I don't think we should stress about getting Shiva at the moment. The rename card isn't that important either. We could sell it to him. 25,500 gil is a nice amount, but you know, we don't really need to worry about money since we've got the infinite gil trick, which I've shown you, and we're about to improve that trick in the near future as well. So money will not be an issue. One of the reasons why I haven't bothered increasing my seed rank through the tutorial menu, through the exams that you can take. So I'm just going to go for the third option and not give it to him, because the girl next door is a unique item. There's no other way to get it. Once we sell it, it's gone from our inventory. Especially if you're going for a perfect game, then you will not want to get rid of that. Now, that is mean. That is mean. But anyway, once we've collected that Timber Maniacs issue, we're going to head on back down the stairs here. You can play cards with this guy, Watts. And if you didn't win the Angelo card from him earlier on disc 1, which we did, then he will still play that card. And you can card mod it into 100 elixirs, which is particularly useful, because that pretty much solves healing throughout the rest of the game. So if you do have Angelo card and haven't modded it, go ahead and do so. Don't forget, the rare cards in this game are not unique, despite what you might get the impression of by the game itself. You can collect them all from the CC group quest later, and actually keep modding them and then collecting them as many times as you want, which is pretty awesome, which is why I highly recommend that you did that quest. If you haven't, then make sure you go back to whatever episode it was where I covered that. I think it was 2 episodes, the CC group quest, and showed you how to do that. Very useful reward coming up on disc 4. Other than that, let's just head downstairs. By the way, if you do play him, just bear in mind he's not going to have Balam's rules or Dolit's rules. I think he's going to have Galbadia rules, which we did sort out earlier on, so that shouldn't be too challenging. Okay, so after this scene, we'll get control of our characters again, but don't speak to the leader here. So the scene's still ongoing, so just wait for a moment. Okay, don't speak to this leader again until we've collected the draw point, because this will kick off another set of scenes that will see us back on Balam, which means we need to grab this now. I do recommend, because this is a good draw point, this is for holy magic, that you just boost your magic user's magic stat as high as possible. Even though we're not going to get the opportunity to save at this point. So whatever we get, we're just going to have to make do with. I still recommend just boosting that magic stat. 233. Remember, the highest you can get is 255. If you have been drawing Ultimas, you should have the opportunity to get that quite high. And then we'll go ahead and draw Holy with Selfie, but we just need to make some room in her first. Well, you know, in her magic list, if you like. What can we get rid of? Let's get rid of Aero for now. $11 holies. I could have hoped for better. Remember, 15 to the maximum, but in all honesty, it could have been a lot worse than that. I have, even with a high magic stat and that Ultima draw point in Shumi Village, picked up a small amount of 6 in the past and had to reload. So, you know, 11's not too bad. And when you're ready, you can once again speak to the White Seed Leader, and this will kick off those scenes. So, Alone is no longer here. Okay, so finally back in control of our characters, and with a new destination in mind, still on the hunt for Elone, we are going to be heading over to Esther, a place we have not yet visited with Squall and friends. But, with that said, there's actually some optional stuff we can do again. Not a whole lot, but I do recommend that you do some cactuar farming at this point. So if you remember to farm cactuars, you need to head over to this island, and if you park the garden just outside of this cliff formation, we can run through to the desert area. And one of the things we're trying to do here is A, run the required number of steps in order to reset the Ultima draw point again. I think it's about 5,000 steps, might be a little bit more. But one step actually counts quite a lot towards that total, so don't worry about that. And we're also going to be levelling up our Guardian Force, Alexander, who we've recently collected, his Med level up ability. Now you can also collect some of his other abilities if you want to, but the priority is this medicine level up. So try and stay here at least until you've done that. I do recommend you have Selfie in your party and boost her strength stat up, since her weapon, if you have her ultimate weapon, which hopefully once again, if you've been following the walkthrough, you should have, it will have already 255% hit, which you can see there, along with Squall, and they are therefore the best two characters to kill these cactuars, since they like to run away and they do have a high evade stat. So we're going to spend some time, do a little bit of farming, and I'll see you on the other side. Okay, and once again, when you're done with your cactuar farming, head back to Shumi Village, because the Ultima draw point should have reset by this point in time. And just watch how much Ultima Magic, I did mention this, your magic drawer has. Selfie had over 85, which is the maximum you wanted to have before she draws. And so I've just reduced her magic of Ultima amounts down to 85. I gave 8 across to Irvine so that she won't overdraw. Because obviously she was on 93, then 7 would be the most I could draw. And we can always send some back to her after we've done the draw if we want to keep her on 100. And it looks like the draw point is back. So we'll go ahead and do the usual. What the heck? 9. That's a little bit low, so I'm going to try that again. But you know the routine. Make sure you save before you go ahead with the actual draw itself. 13. That'll do nicely, I think. Okay, it's not the maximum, but it's a good amount. It's a good amount. So what we're going to do now is just give Irvine's Ultimas back to Selfie, so she's got the nice maximum. Good for her stats. There we go. Okay. I was thinking why she was on 98, then it's because I had her on 85, then she just drew 13. Makes perfect sense. Alright then, guys. So we're going to do a little bit of more optional farming here of some other bits that we're going to need, especially later on in the game. We may as well collect them now. And we're going to collect 6 steel pipes, 6 remedy plus, and 6 Marlborough tentacles, which are all going to be used for a side quest later on. So I'm going to show you how to get each of those items, 6 of each, and then we'll move on from there. But hopefully the draw points will be back as well. Okay, so for the steel pipes, there's a couple of places you can look to in order to collect. The first is going to be to mug them from these Wendigo guys. These are the ones that like to turn your characters into basketballs and then, you know, have a bit of sport before putting you back to normal. And the trick is we want to mug from these. So hopefully we'll get a good steel pipe here with Selfie's mug ability. Okay, so we've got 4 steel pipes, which is pretty good. And of course, once we've done that, we can just go ahead and kill them. So that's the first location you can get steel pipes. And I'll just show you where on the map we are. Just get through all the pleasantries. Okay, so you can see there, we're just up in the northern part of the continent here. The other idea that you can do, and something that I'm going to do to get the final 2, is if we go to the card mod ability and we find the Elastoid card. I think it's called Elastoid. Where are we? We've gone past it. There it is, page 5 for me. And I've actually got 14 of these, so I didn't even need to kill that Wendigo. But I can go ahead and refine some. Although I've actually already got 8 steel pipes, which is plenty. Which means I'm sorted on the first item. Remember, we need 6 of each. But they're the 2 ways of getting these steel pipes. Right, in terms of Remedy Plus, all we need to do is go to a vendor where we can buy remedies. I'll just see how many we've got first. I might have already stocked up. You need 60 remedies, which I do have. And then I told you to level up or to learn the medicine level up ability with Alexander. So have you done that? Then you shall be able to head over here and turn 60 of those remedies into remedy pluses. And that's our 6 remedy plus. And so the final item, the Marlborough tentacles, are going to be the most frustrating to come by. You can, let's see how many Marlborough cards I've got. They are quite rare, the Marlborough cards, I believe. but I have collected a few through my travels, especially when I was doing the CC quest. So if you have any Marlborough cards, I've got 8. 4 will refine into 1 tentacle. So we'll get 2 tentacles from the off there, but we still need to get another 4, which means we need to actually go and kill Marlboroughs. Now the first challenge in collecting the Marlborough tentacles is actually finding the area where we can kill the Marlboroughs. Since there's places we can do so, but we can't access them easily yet at this stage, since we only have Balham Garden, which of course has limited places of travel. So we're going to go in and grab a chocobo. Just save my game first briefly. So we're going to go into the roaming forest here. And we'll ride this chocobo out. And boy, is that glitched or is that me? It's like, I've heard of gold chocobo, but this is invisible chocobo. I wonder what abilities this would have. Who knows? Anyway. So earlier on, in one of the earlier episodes of the walkthrough, when I showed you how to do all the chocobo side quests, if you haven't done that, by the way, you'll want to probably just head back and do so before doing all this. But since it is available to do, by the way, still, if you haven't done it yet, the chocobo side quest. But if you do remember all that, then you'll remember the path I showed you, how to reach Chocobo Sanctuary. And we're going to do the same again. We're going to head back on our chocobo through the shallow waters here, towards Chocobo Sanctuary. And we're going to head up here into this forest area. And we're just going to go close to the actual sanctuary itself, because this place is, it's got to be said, pretty deadly. But this is the forest where we can encounter the Marlboroughs. So we're going to fight around this area. Make sure you save before, of course. And if you want to use Quistis, then her Degenerator limit break will actually one-shot those guys, and that's probably the best way to actually kill them. Okay, so they are quite rare. It took me quite a few encounters, about 12 encounters to actually encounter a Marlborough, and they hit you with bad breath, which is a bloody nuisance, it's got to be said. But if you can take them down, especially with Quistis, then you'll get those tentacles, and since I already had 4, of course, another 2 is all I will need. And there we have it. That's 6 steel pipes, 6 remedy plus, and 6 Marlborough tentacles. So surprise, surprise, we've collected everything we need. We're now off back to Shumi Village once more. So just make sure to grab a chocobo from Chocobo Sanctuary near where we were fighting in that forest. And then just, reverse the route in order to get back to Garden. And look at that, Ultima is now back once again. So we are going to draw it once again. And hopefully, with our high draw stat, magic stat on Selfie, we'll get a nice amount. Just again, make sure that she only has a maximum of 85. Or whoever is drawing only has a maximum of 85 Ultimas. And don't forget to throw all the magic plus percentages on there. Get that stat as high as you can. 15, couldn't ask for anything more than that, really. That's pretty good. So, she's already on 100 then now. I won't need to send any back from Irvine, who's got over, I think, nearly 30 Ultimas, which means we're well on our way to getting towards another maximum amount of Ultima for another character. And we're still only on this 3. Normally, Ultima's not really available, and even when it is, it's in very rare quantities until, the very, very end of the game. So, very, very good to be able to get it at this stage. But in all honesty, guys, I think we're going to finish things off here today, because the next stage now is to actually head over to Esther in order to continue on with the story. Just, make sure you grab those Ultimas before you do so, and we'll pick up next time. So thanks a lot for joining me, guys. Don't forget just to hit that like button if you've enjoyed this episode, and I'll see you soon for more Final Fantasy VIII.